Hello and welcome to this short demonstration or video about one of the tools that will be included in the DX engine called DXMeshMasher. It's basically acts as a small intermediary tool between the graphics pipelines such as 3ds Max or Maya, and basically converts those 3D models exported from those programs into a simple format that is recognised by the engine. So this is what the tool looked like before. It's fairly clunky, it's all buttons, nothing really graphical. It did its job, but it's one of those things which isn't really that nice to use. So basically what it did before was you could import either an OBJ or an FBX file from 3ds Max or Maya, and then that it would convert all the vertex coordinates and everything into a nice format. You could also import your diffuse, normal, specular and alpha textures. Glow currently isn't supported at the moment in the engine, but it's there for future use. This is basically what I've taken into the new editor, which I'll just bring up now. And this it basically does the same thing, but is a lot more graphically oriented and a lot nicer to look at and use. It also gives you a nice viewport here, which I'll show you now, which will show you your 3D model. So what we can do here is I've got a few sample files here which I'll use in a demonstration. So what we can basically do is grab one of these files and just drag it into the viewport here, and then here you go, it will load up your 3D model that you exported. So at the moment you can rotate it, look around it, and also you can sort of zoom in and out. I'm going to probably change this so you can actually move all the way around the model with your WASD keys. In the top left hand corner you've got the polygon count of the model, and also these two values which will actually tell you the number of assets and the number of textures that you have stored in your final file. So what we can do now is go a lot more into this drag and drop functionality with the textures. As you can see here, we've got our space for our diffuse, normal, specular and alpha maps. So what we can do is we can just drag our textures in, and the materials will be applied to the model. One thing about this is that the toolkit that I'm using, WPF, doesn't actually support normal or alpha maps directly, so those materials won't be applied, but in the end when you export it, all of the materials will still be exported. So what we can do is we can just add our specular and alpha maps, and there we go, so we've got our full 3D model. All we need to do now is just give it an identifier, so just call it what its name was originally, and then click the plus button to add it to our little list here, which will display all the 3D models that will be in our file in the end. So yeah, what we can do is we can just click on this again and it'll bring up our 3D model and all our textures. So what we can also do is, if we want to have another look at our texture, so say for example you lost the original texture file and you can edit that, we can just click on the image here and it'll bring up a bigger picture of the texture here. What I'm also going to do in the future is implement one of the features of the older tool, is where you can actually extract this texture to a file. Like I said, if you manage to lose the original or something like that, all you can do to get rid of this is just to click off and it will disappear, and you can carry on looking at your 3D model or whatever you want. What else we can do here as well is, now all of these textures have actually been dedicated to the sort of memory. As you can see here, the textures in file we've got as 4 and the assets we've got as 1. So we can actually use these textures now on other 3D models if we want. So for example, we can keep this 3D model as it is, right click these images to remove the textures, and then as these images, there are actually no images here, what we can do is we can left click on the box as we would to view the texture, but in this case we'll actually have a little window come up in the middle of the screen which will show us the current textures that we have in memory. So what we can do is we clicked on the diffuse area, we can just select our diffuse texture by clicking the tick, and there we go, it'll bring it up in here. We can also select the diffuse for the normals if we wanted, or anything like that. We'll update the name here by just calling it Troll Cleric 2, add it to the list, and there we go. We've got our new model. So if we click back on our Troll Cleric, first one, we'll also bring up the old textures like I mentioned before. Another thing that this new tool implements is the fact that the textures that have been used currently are stored in memory until you click off into another 3D model, but the textures won't be discarded straight away. They'll be kept in memory for up to 5 seconds, so if you wanted to switch quickly between two models, then you don't have to reload all the textures from file again. The current formats that are supported, like I said before in the old tool, are OBJ and FBX, and like I said, that texture bank there is implemented so we can avoid a lot of data duplication in the final file. What we can do now is we can just click the export button down here and select just a new file name, so DXMeshPack 2, click save, and then as you can see up here, all our data has been saved to the location we selected. Also got a time and date up here, so if you need to save it more than once, you know when you last saved it. The last thing I can show is if we just close this down and load it back up again. What we can do now is we can just the file that we saved before, or another one, we can just drag and drop into the top bar, and it will load our models in down here, as you can see. So what we can do now is just click one, and as you can see, our textures and all our models are loaded back up. And that's it. If you want to see anything additional in this tool, then leave a comment in the comment section below, or like my page on Facebook. The link will be in the description. Thanks a lot, and see you next time.